Namaste, beautiful souls. Welcome back. This is Sadhana with another episode of decks that I recommend. And today's topic is hug decks. And from Nova's prompt, I read Hug Deck, a deck that offers emotional support and comfort, gentle, compassionate, and soothing. This is a deck that feels like a warm hug for anyone going through a tough time. And as with the previous episodes, I will be sharing with you 2 mass market and 2 self-published decks. And on the table today, I will be sharing with you the Shadowscapes Tarot with artwork by Stephanie Puy-Moon-La, Tarot of the Ozarks by Lori LePage, Future Ancestor Tarot by Alexa Luna Studios, also known as Alexa Villanueva, and the Gaian Tarot by Joanna Powell Colbert. All of these decks are a complete pleasure to hold in hand. They make me feel good, and I feel very much supported when I pick up any of these 4 decks. In the world of the Shadowscapes Tarot, I feel transported. I feel transported to a place that is calm, where there are butterflies and the wind gently blows, where there are fairies and fae and creatures of all kinds that will gently move through my space. I feel in the Shadowscapes Tarot that this is a deck that taps into the energy of beauty, and that brings me peace and harmony. This is the Empress card, and this one is just such a flowy, beautiful energy of creation, and I love the colors in this deck. The whole deck makes me feel calm. Even the cards that are a little more challenging don't make me feel so challenged, if that makes sense. There are some beautiful backgrounds and lots of lovely detail to explore in these cards. This is the Russian version, and so if you've not worked with this version before, it might take, and you don't speak Russian, it might take you a little bit of time to get familiar with some of the names. But if you have the English version, you can compare and contrast, and in no time you'll be reading with this one. This moon is so mysterious and powerful, and I love all the little mushrooms, and the use of masks is really clever in this deck as well. I feel like I can wander into a place and spend some time healing, and I know that I will come out feeling better. And I think with a tarot reading, part of that is understanding better what is going on. Love the Phoenix for the Death card. There is I don't know, equal amount of beauty, empowerment, gentleness, and strength in this deck. And I do like this particular version. The pictures are a little bit larger. Sometimes I pull out Stephanie Puy-Moon-La, the illustrated book, the larger book with the full, I'm showing you the majors here. So it has only majors, and it has a larger than 8.5 by 11 inch picture of each of these, and I love looking at it. It makes me feel comforted, and that's what I'm looking for in a hug deck. This beautiful star card, it's so perfect because in Aquarius, as we journey through the air, we also have this metaphor of journeying through the water, and there's a lot of great intersections in this deck depending on what you have studied, what systems you've studied in the tarot. But let's look at some of the minors. So here are the aces. I think with a hug deck too, I'm looking for hope. And it's something I definitely feel in the Shadowscapes Tarot. Here are the 2s, a couple of them anyway, Pentacles 2 and 2 of, I was going to say 2 of Hearts, 2 of Cups. I feel like this deck delivers the message gently and in a world, in a place that feels, for me anyway, safe. And I know this is all really subjective. For some people, these characters might feel kind of creepy in this place. I don't know, not some place you want to go, but I love the world of Shadowscapes and love to wander through this land. It just makes me feel like a child, maybe. I love this dragon and the Four of Pentacles. There's something tender. I think that's another word that beautifully describes this deck. And maybe tender is a word that I can't use for all of the decks that I've chosen. Perhaps some of the fox cards, the wands cards, are less than huggy. On another hand, the foxes never feel too ferocious. And the Six of Cups is so beautiful. I love this tea party that's going on. Little girl is having tea with her dolls. The Six of Pentacles for me is incredibly poignant and helps me to remember what Six of Pentacles is about. You know, we don't always know what our giving gives, if that makes sense, when we are sharing and guiding and leading and singing and chanting. We don't always know how our gifts affect others. And there's something here that reminds me of that playing the music here, this flautist, let's call him that, doesn't know the beauty that he is creating with his music. And the sevens are entirely manageable. Perhaps this is the most ferocious card in the whole deck. And the nines and this 8. Yeah, this is a big hug deck for me. The English version that I have, I did trim it, so it's quite small, and I do love to have it as a travel deck. And there's a few cards in the Suit of Pentacles that I just feel so very comforted. And I think even though the Ten of Wands is kind of a challenging card, this one is presented in a way that I think gently delivers the message, and it's just so beautiful that you can understand it through the beauty of the art. There's something about art decks that feel very huggy to me, and these are the pages. So this is one that I go to when I want to feel comforted, and I put it in order of numbers and quartz just so I could easily speak to it. And these queens, I love all of these queens. It makes me want to do a reading for myself right now. And these are the kings, the 4 kings. Yeah, so this is the Shadowscapes Tarot with artwork by Stephanie Pui-Moon Law. The other mass market deck that I selected in this category is the Gaian Tarot. This particular version is the original Llewellyn version. And I know there is a new version available, which I haven't looked at. I like this version, how the art spills over the borders. This deck also feels very comforting to me. I have no problem wandering in the woods, and there's something about the people in this deck. They are very, very real. And there are some cards that just make me feel so very happy. And I wouldn't say this is a feels good deck, which is the next category. The reason I call this a hug deck is because of its connection to nature. And perhaps it is a reminder to reconnect with that, reconnect with the divine, in sacred space. And I do want to show you some of my favorite cards. This is one, this Six of Water. So beautiful. Connection, peace, beauty, happiness, friendship, sisterhood, good times now and in the past. Maybe we grow old together. There is part of the hug for me in this deck is a sense of empowerment. Whether we are looking at a sister or a brother, a young one or an elder, they all feel like they are okay with themselves. Yeah, this is this Two of Air is beautiful, but the nine of air in this deck really is something. It's another favorite card. You know, I didn't think about this before, but this looks a bit like a Harry Potter image, where the deer is there in spirit. I forget what those are called in the Harry Potter world. You know, Patronus, that's what I was thinking. 9 of Water. This 8 of Water, I think, is beautiful. Look at how happy she is moving down the river. And here we have the cycle of life in the 10 of Water. The eggs have hatched and the new fish are heading downstream. I had a hard time, actually. I had a few decks on the table in the mass market category, and I wanted to share with you a couple that have really stood the test of time. And they really don't feel like they have aged. These are not by any means new decks, and they're still here. I think I could also put this deck in the inspiring category, but we'll get to that in a few weeks. All right, so there's one more card that I really want to speak to, and hopefully... Oh, this is the one I was talking about. This 9 of Air. And I don't know if she's hugging the tree, but she is deeply connecting to this tree, connecting to the ancestors through the tree. She is listening. We are supported and we are held by Gaia, by Shakti. And if we are reminded of how important that connection is through a deck like this, I think that is really beautiful. So yeah, there is a tenderness to this deck, but its hug comes from its deep connection and respect with nature. I love this Elder of Fire. I think in the Herb Crafter Tarot, if we could see the face of the Curandera, she would look something like this. What a beautiful altar. So yeah, I highly recommend this as a comforting deck. The Gaian Tarot by Joanna Powell Colbert. The first self-published deck that I put in this category is the Tarot of the Ozarks, or Tarot de Ozar, by Laurie LePage. And this is the second edition that has a little bit prettier back. The first edition had a red back to it. And this is a Marseille-inspired deck. But this, for me, is such a beautiful hug because of its color palette. When I open up this deck and fan out the cards, it just makes me feel happy, and I feel supported and warmed and comforted. And it doesn't feel particularly overwhelming because when I'm reading this deck, I am listening to the flowers and reading into the openings between the space between. I am luxuriating in the art of the cards. The pentacle suit is just beautiful in this deck. Every single pentacle is slightly different. Sometimes it's a fruit, sometimes it's a plate, sometimes we don't know what it is exactly, but they're all simply gorgeous. And this one, 2017, Lori LePage. I will link all of the decks below in the description box. It's a very approachable, now I say Tarot de Marseille, but Lori LePage said this is not a tarot of Marseille. This is a variation of it, and it is just beautiful. And I feel like when I read with this deck that everything will be okay. Nothing is too wrong in the world of the Tarot of the Ozarks. There's beautiful scenery, and I don't know if that is the right word. I feel like even this card is scenic, and I would love to be a painter, and if I had the courage, I would love to paint like this, to draw and paint and use mixed media to design and play. And maybe I feel a bit like a kid in this deck as well too, that if I could let go a little bit, that I could create some art like this. Beautiful 9 of Pentacles. So this one, I sold my first edition because I really like these pretty backs, and that was the only thing that changed, was the back of the cards. There's something as well too with a couple of the cards have this geometry, sacred geometry going on, and she added a lot of her own energy to this deck, not trying to bring in Golden Dawn associations, and yet there are layers of Lori in this deck that are so beautiful. And I don't think that you can say that this is of a certain style of Marseille, a certain style of older deck. There is a real mixture of paintings here, and most of it is it's just her. It's just Lori. And look at that energy in the star card. It's just stunning. It's kind of like Easter eggs. Yeah. And I guess this deck could be in the next category as well too, which just feels good. But I put it here for a hug. I know that this deck will deliver something quite extraordinary. And I have come to trust the layers within this deck, the sparkles in between, the extra little bits and bobs that Lori has added to her paintings. Another beautiful pentacle card. So yeah, this makes me happy. And if you've never read with a deck like this is a great one to start with. It's somewhat true to this style of deck, and yet with its extra flourishes and the unique designs of Lori LePage, this ace, it's easy to read. What an exciting Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, that deck really is, that suit really is beautiful. Look at the papesse. I love that she is a Black Madonna. Oh, look at this card. The light, that's coming through these swords. I recommend the Tarot of the Ozarks if you need a good hug. And the second self-published deck in this category that I recommend is the Future Ancestor Tarot by Alexa Villanueva of Lexa Luna Studios. My feeling about this deck is one of tremendous comfort. I feel good in every single card. And I'm hoping in the next video to, and I'll try to do it here as well too, to define the difference between these two categories. This category is a hug deck and the next one is a feel-good deck. And so these 4 decks are ones that I go to when I am in need of comfort. There is a tenderness here. There is something that I feel supported. I think that's it in these 4 decks. I don't feel like anything is going to go sideways, that if there is a lesson to learn, that it will be delivered gently. I think gentle deck is another word that I could use for this category. So that's quite different than feels good, and maybe you'll see the mood of the decks that I'm choosing in the next group is quite different. Something too with the limited color palette, and even in Lori's deck, the one I just showed you, while there is a lot of color, it's somewhat subdued, as is the Shadowscapes tarot, right? The color is not bold. It's all kind of pastels and muted colors. Even getting a hug in the Ace of Cups. The Gaian Tarot has that feel as well too. There's a huge variety of colors, but there's a softness to it. I feel safe in all of these decks. There are some name changes, so Seeds for Pentacles, and the court cards are different. So Maker is the King, Listener is the Queen. I'll try to point those out as I go through. Needles for Swords. And there are some name changes for the majors as well too. Let's see if I can find those. 11 is Justice. And this is quite clever, I think, this 10 of Needles with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 needles. It's all in the head. 2 are in the moon. This reminds me of the Two of Swords. Another deck where you can look at the art, describe the picture, and get a lot of information. And I'm smiling because I love it when we see the Fool in a different aspect in the star card. Very well done, Alexa. Yeah, great Chariot card. Listener. So here's the Listener of Needles, the Queen of Needles. And Student. Let's see. We have Listener, Maker, Student, and oh yeah, Knights are Explorers. So I love these name changes for the court cards. And this tower is beautiful. Look at the blue, the flower here. Might be the only blue in the whole deck is in the bloom of that flower. Yeah, this is a great, big, and very tender hug as well. Super easy to read deck. And I think the name of this deck is misleading. I think when you read the title Future Ancestor Tarot, you might think that this is a deck that is just for doing ancestor work. And that was the inspiration for the creation of this deck, But I think, Alexa, what you have created is something much greater than that. This is a holy healing deck, one that provides tremendous support and comfort in a time of need. So, my second self-published choice for a hug deck is Future Ancestor Tarot by Alexa Luna Studios. And here is one more look at my 4 selections. Gaian Tarot, Tarot of the Ozarks, Future Ancestor Tarot, and Shadowscapes Tarot. These are all 9 of Pentacles cards. Thank you very much for watching. Take good care. Namaste.